A.J. Brown, here, not there. The whole spring, we knew he was going to be here these 2 days, one way or the other. He was with the Patriots, dominated on Wednesday. Today, Drake Maye may be forcing the ball to him a little bit, it felt like. Taylor, A.J. Brown against his former team, and that connection, which was really tested against some good corners in Quinyon Mitchell and Reek Woolen, although Reek Woolen had a rough couple of days. Where are you at with A.J. Brown and just where he's at with Drake Maye and the offense as a whole? Finally said he's 100% with the playbook.
Yeah, I think it's looked the way we've expected it to look, especially today in the red zone early on. They were absolutely dominant. Later on in practice, the momentum definitely swung in the Eagles' favor. You had A.J. Brown catching a slant, gets pulled out of his grasp and intercepted. Also had another play where Reek Woolen, and this was really the play where I thought Drake truly forced the ball to A.J. Brown. Quick out. Threw it late, and those are plays that you absolutely cannot have happen. But overall, I mean, AJ was pretty dominant the first day, dominant for the first half of today, and that's what you expect to see. Now, the Eagles are a very good team, and that was one of my favorite things about this joint practice. You weren't looking at AJ wide open the entire time. You weren't looking at, different receivers just cooking Eagles defensive backs. Those starters were highly competitive and forced AJ Brown and Drake Maye to make some really tough plays. So I thought it was encouraging overall, and again, I thought it was the AJ Brown that we probably expected to see at this point in the summer.
He ran a what on the goal line?
Ran a quick out?
Quout.
We
came up with the new route in camp. Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
Yeah,
that's what you missed down here. Not being down here.
The good stuff here.
A quick out.
A quout. Say
wow,
it.
real creative.
Say it.
All right.
Quout.
Yeah, there we go.
Ask Lazar vibe test.
I'm not allowed to talk scheme stuff.
I don't know what he ran. Evan has no idea what he ran. No, AJ, it looked good. Yesterday was obviously better than today. As you said, Barth maybe forcing the ball a little bit to him, but trying to get that rapport down, and I think it just continues to grow. It's far better than it was to start training camp. And, I mean, even a couple times where it didn't look like AJ was going to be open, Drake threw it to him anyway, and they have the chemistry down. AJ turns on sort of I think it was like a curl route at one point. I don't know if it was 7s or 11s, I can't remember, but it was a good timing route, and they made it happen. So I'm impressed with where they're at so far, even if today wasn't the best.
Yeah, I thought that he was pretty dominant both days, honestly. Like, the out that Drake threw that was late in the red zone that got picked off, like, I put that more on Drake Maye than I do on A.J. Brown. Probably one that you want to pass up and progress off of, ideally, for Drake Maye.
You think split responsibility for the interceptions?
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I really felt like what I saw the last couple of days, and I'm sure some of that's due to motivation going against his former team, was as much separation as we've seen from A.J. Brown all summer long. And that really started on Monday, I guess, with the Patriots practice. But all week long, I felt like I saw another gear when the ball was in the air. It was able to separate down the field. Those slants have been pretty automatic, but they can't make a living off of 7-yard slants. You got to be able to push the ball down the field at some point. The plays that they made yesterday, the crossing route over the middle of the field early, the go ball down the sideline, was it a sack, was it a completion? They gave it to him, so I'm going to count it. That was a really nice play all around. So I thought that he got the better of Reek Woolen and Quinyon Mitchell. Even today, caught that jump ball in the back corner of the end zone too. Dominant, alpha, really good football player. Next.
Yeah, I thought he looked really good, especially some of that downfield stuff. And I thought, there were questions about what happened in Philly last year. Was it motivation? Was it scheme? I thought just hearing some of the Eagles reporters who watched them all last year, then they were like, this guy does not look like the guy they saw last year. He looks like the old A.J. Brown of sorts. So I thought getting that perspective was a good sign, too, as well.
1,150 yards, 80 catches, 8 touchdowns.
I think he's going to have more than 8 touchdowns.
I do too.
I don't know if the yards are going to be crazy. Like, he might not have the 1,500 yards that he had a couple of years ago.
Should have over
1,100.
1,100.
Got a lot of guys to spread the ball to. So
yeah, but I feel like
they're going to feed him.
Touchdowns.
In the red zone, they definitely
We'll get to that in a second.
Like winning balls in the red zone and stuff like that. I feel like they want to be better down there in the red zone, and today was maybe a little bit of a step back in that regard. But if they're going to improve in the red zone, then him and Dobbs high pointing the ball is going to be a big part of that.
Well, it's also just interesting, too, that, he was going up against Quinyon Mitchell, who is supposed to be one of the better cornerbacks in the league. Probably the guy that's going to reset the corner contract record after Gonzalez next year. Hopefully they get that signed. And, A.J. Brown had his number pretty much the whole 2 days. So that was encouraging. And I don't know, maybe the Eagles will be playing this tape probably when they go to those negotiations. Real quick before we move on.
This episode and every episode of Pat's Daily and Pat's Beat is powered by our friends over at Prize Picks. It is a scorching hot summer of sports, and you can make all of your picks on Prize Picks. Women's basketball, baseball are both heating up, and of course, football's preseason is here. Games have already kicked off this summer, and we also have Big Tennis Slams, major golf tournaments on the horizon, and there's no better place for all of your summer sports picks than on Prize Picks. Patriots taking on the Eagles on Saturday night. We'll have a slew of picks for you guys across the entire channel, so make sure you're tuned in for that. The preseason is here, and there's no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. There's star players on new teams, a rookie class ready to take over, all while teams are looking to get started on the biggest football season yet. So if you want to get in on the action with us, just download the app today and use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, just download the app today and use code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app.
I'm going to give you each one wide receiver. Just a thought on where that guy is coming out of camp, coming out of these practices. Evan, you're going to start with Romeo Doubs.
Well, I was small C concerned.
That's why I gave you Romeo Doubs.
You were putting me in categories I didn't want to be put in yesterday on Catch 22, saying that I was talking some smack about Romeo Doubs.
Not about him, just
making some comparisons that we're glad I didn't bring to air. Let me put it to you that way. I think that he's really come on strong, and I actually think, and I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about this. I actually think that they've figured out Romeo Doubs just as much as Romeo Doubs is figuring out them. I think that's a big part of what we're seeing in his emergence, is that they are kind of changing or adapting his role a little bit from what we saw at the beginning of the summer and in the spring. Not as many routes out of the slot, not as many of the option routes inside the formation. They're allowing him to really run a more vertical route tree, and they're just going to kind of have two vertical guys, it seems like, in A.J. Brown and Romeo Doubs, and whoever gets the one-on-one is probably going to get the ball.
So I'll jump into my guy before I go to you guys with the rest of the receivers. It's good that they've unlocked him, but okay, we thought he was going to be in that volume role. It's not going to be him. A.J. Brown's probably going to be more vertical, so he's maybe not a 100-catch guy. So then who is it? Pop Douglas had a hell of a camp. Pop Douglas had even by his standards, he always has a good camp. He had a good camp by his standards, and I'm excited to see what he does, and I think he's going to be pretty regularly involved in this offense. I think he's solidly the third receiver. Now, I think they want to run a lot of 12 and a lot of 21, so that third receiver in 11 is, I don't know, maybe like a 45, 50% usage rate, if that, but it's not insignificant. Mike, Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah, you mentioned them using Romeo in more of a vertical route tree on the outside a little bit more instead of on the inside. That's going to inherently take away even more reps from Kayshon Boutte in this offense, because they want Kayshon Boutte as that outside guy. And you saw in the 1-minute drill, Drake Maye hits Romeo Doubs on a post route for a touchdown, right? That's the kind of stuff that they had in sort of Kayshon Boutte's route tree and bag, if you will. So I still think that at the end of the day, he's not going to be here at the beginning of the season. Now, however it may happen, I don't think they're going to release him, but there could be a trade here in a little while. Obviously, the Texans just lost Jaden Higgins. So, look, I think Kayshon Boutte was really great to start camp. I think he kind of petered out over the last couple of weeks or so, but I still think he's a great football player. I just don't know how much volume and how many targets he's going to get in this offense. I don't think he wants to necessarily be a part of a wide receiver room by committee right now. He wants to be that guy, so he'll probably be elsewhere, but I think he's been great.
So, Taylor, that opens up more chances for your guy, Kyle Williams.
I hope so, and I would say this was a very solid camp for him. I'm not gonna, go too crazy with it, because like yesterday there were a couple of pass breakups on slants, and I do think that the consistency for Kyle Williams needs to be there a little bit more. But at the same time, he still has those wow plays, right? Like he's still running slants where he's leaving guys in the dust. Today he had like a 30-ish yard touchdown against former Patriot Shaun Wade. You see the vertical speed, you see the home run ability, and you see the nasty releases from him pretty consistently. But I think it's also fair to say that when he gets to the top of the route, or when he end up getting contacted mid-route, that's where you start to see, okay, he does still need to get a little bit functionally stronger or just savvier to avoid some of that contact. But I would say it was a pretty good camp, if not just, again, solid for Kyle Williams. I'd like to see him continue to grow in the season, but you have to continuously acknowledge that he is buried behind a lot of veterans, so it's going to have to happen in practice and behind the scenes. Then when he gets his opportunities in games, going to have to keep taking advantage of those.
All right, Brian, you know who you have. Bring it home.
The islands haven't left the Chisholm Island this summer.
I think it's because Fred Kirsch is like got all the property on Chisholm Island now, and there's no room for me anymore.
Michelle.
Like your penthouse suite.
Yeah, like somebody on Patriots Unfiltered can't be on Chisholm Island. So,
But to me, the usage and the versatility indicates that this is someone who's going to be on this roster, right? He is out there in the 2-minute end of game drives. He's out there in the red zone a lot. A lot of times as a run blocker, that's something they want in their wide receivers. And then the versatility, he's not just a slot receiver. He backs up Romeo Doubs, sometimes comes in for that Z spot. So not going to have a full-time role. You're not going to build the offense around Efton Chisholm, right? Especially with Drake Maye as your quarterback, but this is someone who's going to be on the team and maybe have an actual game day role, and even increasing his usage on special teams, some personal protectors, some kick coverage as well, so maybe a game day role too for Chisholm.
going up and getting the ball this summer.
Those corner routes in the end zone are just
and the
automatic
sale
for him.
today that he went up and got in front of the corner, the safety there on that side of the field, and boxed him out and he high pointed the ball. For a guy that's not, you don't really think of that being in his bag, but he did that consistently this summer.
Make sure to subscribe to our new channel, Patriots Newsfeed on CLNS, giving you clips, behind-the-scenes footage, and much more. And as always, keep it here, our Patriots on CLNS for our full podcast videos.